In the city of Owerri, Nigeria, in the mid-1990s, life carried a rhythm that seemed ordinary on the surface. The streets were filled with traders calling out their prices, taxis honking in the heat, children returning home from school, and the hum of a city that appeared alive with opportunity. But beneath that surface, something darker was moving. Whispers circulated through neighborhoods, stories of missing children, of sudden disappearances, of wealthy men rumored to be dabbling in rituals that promised fortune and power at the cost of innocent lives. For years, the whispers never had a face, never had proof. That all changed in September of 1996. It began with one boy. His name was Anthony Ikechukwu, the youngest son of a modest family. He was 11 years old, bright, curious, and walking home from school on a warm afternoon. Like many children in Owerri, he was a familiar face in the community, trusted by neighbors, cherished by his family. But that day, Anthony never came home. His path crossed with a man named Innocent Ekeanyanwu, a hotel worker at the Otokoto Hotel. Ekeanyanwu offered him food, a simple gesture that to a hungry child felt harmless. Anthony followed him. It was the last time he would be seen alive. Days later, police acting on a tip dug into the soil of the Otokoto Hotel's garden. There, wrapped tightly in plastic, they uncovered something that confirmed the city's darkest fears. It was Anthony. His young life cut short, his body desecrated in ways too grim to imagine. The discovery struck Owerri like lightning. Anthony's killer, Ekeanyanwu, was arrested almost immediately. But what he told investigators shook Nigeria to its core. He confessed that the boy had been murdered for ritual purposes under the instructions of his employer, Chief Vincent Duru, the wealthy and influential owner of the Otokoto Hotel. In Nigeria during the 1990s, ritual killings were not just the stuff of rumors. In many communities, the belief that human body parts could be used for wealth, political power, or protection lingered like a shadow. Families had been reporting missing children for months, sometimes years. But without evidence, the stories were dismissed as superstition. Now, Anthony was the face of every whispered fear. As the news spread, anger ignited. Crowds began to gather outside the Otokoto Hotel, demanding justice. What started as protest quickly became something far more explosive. The hotel that once symbolized wealth and power became a target. The gates were stormed, the walls broken down, and flames consumed the building. Smoke rose into the night sky as Owerri erupted in fury. For many, this wasn't just about Anthony. It was about every child who vanished, every injustice buried by corruption, every rumor that turned out to be true. The riots didn't stop at the hotel. Homes and businesses suspected of ties to ritualists were burned. Shops looted. Streets filled with vigilante mobs determined to root out anyone connected to the Otokoto network. Police tried to contain the chaos, but were overwhelmed. Owerri was a city on fire. The Otokoto case quickly became the most sensational trial in Nigeria. In the dock sat not just innocent Ekeanyanwu, but hotel staff, accomplices, and eventually Chief Vincent Duru himself. The testimonies were chilling. Ekeanyanwu detailed how Anthony was lured, how the act was carried out, and how the boy's remains were prepared for rituals. Witnesses spoke of secret meetings, of wealthy businessmen promising power and immunity in exchange for sacrifice. The trial captivated the nation. Newspapers splashed lurid headlines. Courtrooms overflowed with angry citizens. And for the first time, ritual killings were dragged out from the shadows and into the harsh light of justice. In 1997, innocent Ekeanyanwu and several of his accomplices were sentenced to death by hanging. The executions were carried out swiftly. Years later, in 2002, Chief Vincent Duru, the powerful hotel owner accused of masterminding the killing, was also executed. The state had made its judgment clear, but for many Nigerians, the sense of justice was incomplete. Because while Ekeanyanwu and Duru paid with their lives, countless others believed to be part of the wider ritual network were never exposed. Names whispered in backrooms, men of influence suspected of protecting the system, remained untouchable. The word Otokoto itself entered Nigeria's vocabulary, no longer just the name of a hotel, but a symbol of corruption, greed, and ritual murder. A reminder of how power can consume innocence. For the people of Owerri, the scars remain. Families who lost children never found answers. Survivors remember the nights of fire and anger when their city became the epicenter of a nightmare. Anthony was just one boy, but his death forced a nation to confront the shadows it had ignored for too long. His tragedy exposed a system that thrived on silence, fear, and secrecy. Even today, decades later, questions linger. How deep did the Otokoto network truly run? How many more were taken without a trace? And how many of the powerful escaped judgment? The Otokoto murders remain one of the darkest chapters in Nigeria's modern history. A story of a boy whose life was stolen, of a hotel turned into a symbol of horror, and of a city that burned with rage. In the end, Anthony's tragedy was not in vain. His case forced a reckoning, brought ritual killings out of whispers and into headlines, and showed a nation that even the most powerful could be brought down. But the full truth of Otokoto may never be known.